For this project, I will be restoring this old maple cutting board. Over time, the board is warped and has an abundance of knife gouges on the surface. Instead of sanding the cutting board flat, I figured I could cut the board into strips and turn this into an end grain cutting board. First, I'll remove the rounded corners. Here I'm using the marking gauge to set a cut line along the edges. This will definitely reduce the size of the final cutting board, but I valued durability and longevity over size for the end result. I then traced over the guides with a pencil to make it a little easier to see when cutting the piece square. I then set my blade depth for the circular saw and set up a rough fence to keep the cut straight. The cuts turned out nice and clean. Time to remove the warp with the planer. I wanted to preserve as much of the thickness as I could, so as soon as the sides were parallel, I stopped. I then measured and set a stop on the miter saw to make consistent 1-inch cuts, and cut out as many pieces as I could. Towards the end, the board was getting a lot smaller, so I stopped when I could no longer hold onto the board comfortably. To finish up the cuts, I switched over to the circular saw. To make the final cut, though, I'll have to bring it inside and mount the final piece to the workbench. There was no longer enough material to use this fence method. So to mount it, I used painter's tape and some InstantBond CA glue. I've been trying to use this adhesion method more instead of double-sided tape, but there are still some times where having the extra bit of padding on the double-sided tape comes in handy. With the board mounted, I can now make the final cut. Before I begin gluing up the boards, I wanted to make some modifications to my F-clamps. Essentially, I'm going to cut some 4-inch pieces to glue on to the ends of the clamps to provide a more even spread of pressure. To make these pieces, I'm just using some old scrap oak. Here I'm using more CA glue to temporarily mount the blocks to the clamps. I used more painter's tape so I could remove these after the project. There we go. Time to lay out the pattern. This cutting board was made from multiple pieces of varying thickness, so I figured it could look cool if I staggered them to make a checkerboard pattern. I love the look of this pattern. I think the different size strips give it a unique look. Time to glue them up. For the glue, I'm using TiteBond 3 since it is food safe. Clamping these pieces together took a little bit of adjusting to get an even spread of pressure, but I eventually got it. I definitely need to get some parallel clamps soon. 2 or 3 of those would make future cutting board glue-ups a breeze. With all the clamps in place, all that's left to do is wait 24 hours for the glue to cure. The next day, I came back to check on how the glue-up turned out. Not bad. There were unfortunately some gaps along the edges that had filled with glue, so hopefully they're not too noticeable once the piece is sanded and oiled. And due to the slight variation in thickness across the board, I ended up using double-sided tape to mount the board in place. This was one of the rare instances I was referring to earlier. I then used my router jig to get an even surface on both sides of the cutting board. Once that was done, I started sanding the piece smooth, first using 80 grit paper. This was my first time working with maple. It's definitely a lot tougher than other woods I've worked with, so sanding took a good amount of time. Once the surface was cleaned up and there was no remnants of glue squeeze out, I moved up to 120 grit paper. I then carefully cleaned up the sides and double checked that they were all still square. With the surfaces smooth, I can now water pop the board to get it ready for the final sand.
Oh, that's going to look really cool when it's done.
My favorite part about water popping the boards would have to be the sneak peek you get at what the color will look like when it's oiled. It was getting late in the day, so I'll let this piece dry overnight and sand it tomorrow. The next day I swapped over to 220 grit paper and began making the final sand. After the surfaces were done, I used the same grit on a sanding block to slightly chamfer the corners. For the oil, I'll be using Howard cutting board oil. This oil and conditioner has been my go-to for anything food related. The results are great and I have had no issues with any Howard products. Once applied, I'll let this sit for a couple hours and then apply the conditioner. The conditioner I'm using is Howard Butcher Block Conditioner. So, not to make this a sob story or anything, but this cutting board belonged to my grandma before she passed. While it may seem like it's just a cutting board, it's one of the few things we have from her. I didn't brand my logo on this piece because it kind of felt weird to slap my branding on something that was hers. I'm sure people will have different opinions on that matter, but it's essentially why I skipped branding my logo on this piece. After the conditioner was applied, the cutting board was all done. I love how the checkerboard pattern turned out. It almost looks like it's made from different species of wood. There are a few natural marks in the grain that were embedded through the board, but I personally didn't mind this. Like I mentioned before, there were unfortunately some gaps that did show after everything was done. While they are filled with glue and you can't feel the gaps, it's still visible and is something I think a better clamping system would help fix. Overall, I really like how this piece turned out and I'm excited to see how the wood colors with age. Thank you all for watching. A full list of tools will be linked in the description below. Please let me know in the comments if you have any woodworking advice or cool future project ideas I should try. Thank you.